Do that for us.
Okay, it's 5:30, so we're going to call the meeting to order for June. And the first item up is the Pledge of Allegiance by Mr. McHodges.
Let's all stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And now we'll have our mission statement read by Ms. Elfa Booth.
Beaufort County Schools will provide quality educational programs and services to ensure students' academic and vocational success.
Okay, thank you. Do we have anybody signed up for public comment? No public comment? Okay, then we'll move to approval of the agenda. Is there any additions, deletions? I've noticed a couple of changes already, so everything should be set. Board's pleasure.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We have an agenda. And we'll go to board minutes for approval, and you'll see closed session, well, you'll just see the June 7th meeting, which would all be there. And hopefully everybody's had a chance to read over those.
Move approval of the minutes.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Was everybody here for these meetings? I think so. Okay. So we have a motion and a second to approve those. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, that's the minutes are approved. And tonight, the agenda and the meeting. Okay. Tonight we're going to have a little bit different here. You're going to see us. We're going to have a closed session at the beginning, but it'll be short if you're here for some business other than that. So at this point, I would ask that someone carry me into closed session.
I move that we go into closed session pursuant to General Statute 143-318.11A1 to prevent disclosure of confidential student records under General Statute 115C-402 and 20 U.S. Code 1232G.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to go into closed session. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to that? Okay, so we are now in closed session, and we're back in open session, and first item up is a no action item, and Ms. Sarah Stalls is going to present to us.
Just want to give you a little update on the summer feeding program. You have a handful of flyers there, each of you do, and we'd appreciate your help getting these out. Spanish is on one side, English is on the other. We've been working with Carol World recently, but first we want to look at a little video, just tell you a little more, give you a little more idea about the program. We'll be using this for publicity for the program. Don't worry, it's short. social media and our website.
I would like to say I'm glad it. No, let me start that over. It's out of the Boys and Girls Club. I think that's a good idea for the feeding program in Belhaven.
Well, we got word today the attendance in Belhaven is starting to rise, but this is where we want to take this opportunity for those watching and for board members. Anywhere you can help share this information, we would greatly appreciate it. All those schools out, these are our students that they're helping. So that's why we've jumped on board trying to be a partner to this group. Just to give you a few numbers, I got these numbers this afternoon. Belhaven is increasing every day. Chocowinny Middle is serving about 50 meals a day right now. Aurora is at 20 and rising, and that is almost double of last year. So that's a great improvement. The Ed Tech Center, which I had a chance to spend a little time out this week, is at about 129 is their high right now. And the two mobile sites are doing one's doing around 50 and one's doing around 25. So the mobile sites were a great addition. And something you might not realize about this, there's two other big benefits to the Beaufort County Schools family. Our child nutrition workers are having a chance to make extra work or do extra work, make extra hours. And a lot of our teenagers are also being hired by this program. I had a chance to hang out with one of our teenagers at Ed Tech. They do a wonderful job. And to see our students, those are still our students, taking care of our other students, it was pretty impressive. So we just want to, let everybody know about this, ask you to please help us spread the word. And if any churches are listening, if they would like bulletin stuffers with the information, they can call Care World. They'll print them and provide them for them.
Have you contacted the cable networks, Time Warner, Reds? There's several of them across that have a public access channel, and this is exactly the kind of information they're looking for to put up there?
It's my understanding Care World has.
I haven't seen it,
but we'll double check with them.
And the city of Washington also has their public access channel, but
we'll be sharing the video, which we produced in-house ourselves. Mm-hmm. We'll be sharing that with the city of Washington and everywhere else we can share it. It's already on our social media and on our website. So like I said, we just want to partner up with them and give them the most support we can give them.
I saw the mobile unit at River Road Estates. Those kids were out there playing, just giggling and having a good old time. So I was really glad I didn't know what it was, and then I found out that's what it was.
Well, the numbers Sarah mentioned are going to spike too for us when we have the summer reading camps get started. Yes. Those students will also be provided the meals at school, so that's going to get the numbers up significantly quickly.
Any questions?
No, keep up the good work.
Yeah,
Aurora, I was out there.
Oh.
Kids enjoying themselves too.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. Okay, we have some policy updates, first reading, I think.
Yeah, first reading, no action. This is very similar to what we've done in the past, just a different set of policies. These are being distributed to you all to take a look at, as well as principals will have those and the directors, and then we'll come back again in 30 days and go through these a little bit more detail and get approvals. It's a lot of work, but it helps us make sure that we're on the cutting edge in terms of what's proper and current.
We've had a lot of policy updates, haven't we? Yeah. Okay, so now you have it in your hands, so you got plenty of time to look over it before it comes back to us. Anything else? Okay. Let's move into our action section of the agenda, and I think Miss Andrea Lilly's going to be up to give us some. I'm not even going to attempt to say all that she's given us here.
Tonight we're coming to you to request approval of the alternative education model for accountability model for EdTech, and there are 4 options, A, B, C, and D, that you should have before you. Option A is school performance grades, and it's kind of like the same option that every other school has. Option B is to return the students' test data back to their home school. Option C is the progress model that we used in the past, and option D is to have their own accountability model created for the school. In the past, we have chosen option C, and that's what we request tonight. And that option also includes, just so you'll know, 20% of student persistence, 20% school achievement, and 60% growth.
And what's not in the model, but it's something that we've discussed that we're going to have a focus on will be the attendance of the students and then also the rigor of the work being done there on a day-to-day basis.
So that option C is going to really look at, participation and
And who's going to be
Yeah,
in
how's it-
charge of this accountability?
Yeah, how's that going to work?
Well,
You?
yeah, ultimately, yes.
Okay.
It's just like in the past, they'll get the same review sheet that we get from DPI for every school. It's just theirs is broken down a little bit different.
can you
And you'll
report back to
see
us
that.
pretty,
Yeah, you'll see that.
often as far as-
Yeah, when we start going over data for the schools, you'll see from last year what option C was. Option C was the first time that we could choose that last year. And so you really haven't had a chance to look at the data for that yet.
Okay. But how about once school starts back and opens up? Because, I know you're here at most of our meetings anyway. Will you be able to come in if we want a monthly or every other month?
Sure.
Report on how attendance is? Because
Sure.
I'm not gonna go away from this issue.
Okay.
If we're gonna keep this school and operate it, then I wanna see who's going and who's not going. And I
Okay.
wanna understand what we're getting for our money out there at that school.
I can do that. I can do attendance, and each semester, I can tell you how many have tested and how many were supposed to have tested.
That
Okay.
would be great.
Okay?
Sure, yeah.
I make a motion, we adopt Model C.
Second.
Okay, so that's her request.
Yes.
Any other questions, Fondra? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed to it? Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Harrell, I think you're up with a budget resolution.
What you have is an interim budget resolution. The general statutes require that we have some kind of a budget in place on July 1. We obviously didn't have enough time to adopt a budget for real. So this is just basically giving us permission to pay payroll, that kind of thing.
And hopefully for too long, we'll find out what the state's actually going to do, and
I think it should be shortly.
we hope.
Did they?
Move approval, Mr. Chairman.
We hope so. Okay, we have a motion and a second, and so we can just continue to do business, basically.
Right.
Anybody have any questions? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed to that? Okay, thank you, Ms. Harrell. And we'll stay right with Ms. Harrell for some amendments.
Okay, this is basically the year-end cleanup of the budget that has to be done. We'll start with the State Public School Fund. I believe you have copies
Yeah.
of all budget amendments. This is a $5,000 transfer. We are required to spend a certain amount of state funds for child nutrition employees. It's so that they can meet their federal match. The amount that we had to spend increased a little bit this year, and transfer is just to cover that amount.
Okay.
The next is local current expense funds. This is just moving funds around so that it evens out for the year. The biggest thing that you'll see here is an increase in the amount for charter schools, and that's because of enrollment increase primarily. In addition, of course, every time your allotment from the county increases, that increases the amount that you owe the charter schools. So that was the primary issue there. The other thing between instructional services and non-instructional services is as we move people around and have vacancies and that kind of thing, we move to maximize the use of state funds, and that causes a required budget transfer.
Gotcha.
For federal funding, this is basically increases that we get to federal allotments over the year. The biggest increase was 21st Century Community Learning, and that was their carryover amount for the prior year. And we also had some exceptional children funding for what's called the needs risk pool. That EC money is specifically targeted to a specific child. It's used completely for whatever specified child. So that's the majority of what increased in federal funds. Capital outlay is going to look real strange to you. What it is, we are required by law to budget the funds in our capital outlay funds when we receive new state buses. And that's the $1,200,000 and the $246,000. That's payments that we make on the lease of those buses, and when we first buy them, we have to put those amounts in our capital outlay fund, even though the state pays these, and it goes through the state money. We never get any money in, we never go any money out, but the law says we put it in our capital outlay fund. The other little bit amount that's here is insurance funds. The same thing's true for any insurance funds that come in, has to go into our capital outlay fund. In other local current expense funds, this is what we normally term our grant funds. The biggest thing here are, we just received various additional grants during the year. The biggest thing, I believe, and I just went right by it, was E-rate that we got in for the year. And there were other little grants. For example, we got $5,000 from the NFL and that sort of thing. But the biggest was the E-rate money.
Okay.
And that's it.
So you understand. If it's ever been true, that's what you get paid for to do. So in this particular case, that really works. Any questions for Ms. Harrell from anybody? If not, I'll entertain a motion to put this through.
I make a motion, we accept the adjustments.
Second.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second. You get that, Lisa? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to that? Thank you, Ms. Harrell.
Thank you.
You're up, Mr. Stan. Capital updates.
Good afternoon.
I guess we'll just go to the very first one in the order that you have them on.
Yes, sir.
Which is.
It's titled Capital
I call it the
1516.
summary sheet.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Eastern Elementary multi-purpose building, this final punch-out was completed yesterday. Owner training will be this Thursday, 6:30 at 2 p.m.
I was out there too recently. It's a nice building.
It is.
I enjoy that.
And long needed.
And our faculty actually got to use it the last day of their teacher training and their little meal. They did use it. We got permission from the city inspection department to use it for that. We had a temporary CO, but we didn't have the full CO in hand at that moment, but they did give us permission to occupy it with staff only. So,
Have we got the full CO now?
yes, ma'am, it's all in hand, insured, and we haven't officially turned it over to us 100%, which they haven't received final payment yet neither, so. Eastern Elementary chairs were delivered on June 8th. The purchase was completed as budgeted with no change orders in the amount of $24,810.96. Washington High School's administration's HVAC units, both of them as projects have been completed with no change orders, and we did receive the final invoice today. So there's a change in my little notes there. This was written earlier. Bath Elementary School canopy installation between the 200 and the gymnasium was completed by Tyndall's Home Improvements in the amount of $8,350.71. It was a budgeted $9,000. And just one little special note and things that we run into, most of the concrete in that existing walk was 16 inches thick. He had to sub out a company to come in with their diamond bits. Yeah. We ran into it on the other side last summer when we did the freezer upgrade for the cafeteria. We ran into some 24-inch concrete, so evidently got paid by the yard back then. Just made no sense. Yes, for a
You
sidewalk.
don't need to do a driveway
I just have
16 inches.
concerns that down the road, we're gonna start seeing cracks because of boring through that.
I don't think you ever see a crack
I
on that
don't,
one.
with 16 inches, you might get away with this one, but you're right on a normal.
I don't wanna cause one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you might get away with it here.
Any questions about completed items?
No.
Things that we have planned for the summer, some of these items are contracted, some of them will be done in-house. Chocowindy Primary's installation of the awning between the 200 and building and the gymnasium. Eastern Elementary's enclosures of pod 1 through 3. And another update on that from yesterday, MHA was on site. Plans are completed. They were sending them electronically to DPI for approval. And I've sent them an email requesting and expedited look over, see if we could get them back as quick a turnaround as possible.
And can I ask you on that, Stanley, are those side enclosures going to look pretty much like the one that's in front of the
It's expect to be matching what we have.
So it's going to be glass and
Yeah.
posts?
Yes, ma'am.
But you'll have doors in the middle to get into the
Yeah,
courtyard.
to the courtyard, and the existing doors, that closure will be moved around to fit the ends, which will become exterior doors. So
I assume so, but I realized I had never asked, is that going to be more glass?
So during all that, the thresholds and the doors have changed, the cement level will raise, of course, to put the new storm drain in, but they'll bring it all up, and then there's two new handicap ramps that's going to be required. So that actually does away with one of our future, our 16, 17 capital projects that was, because it'll be encapsulated into that project, so.
Okay.
To meet the ADA requirements, so that's, and no
Right.
DPIs are going to make us do that.
Sure.
And handrails and the work, so,
Well, they need all that, though. They have a lot of kids with
yes,
disabilities.
very much so. Northeast storm drain in the courtyard to the left of the front door, plant ops will be doing that. Northeast media center carpet replacement. North side agriculture HVAC system will be installed. They didn't ever have air conditioning in their classroom. P.S. Jones flower bed project, we obtained all the stuff and we'll finish doing the required plantings and stuff the city required for us to do on that project. Southside cupolas was planned for June.
Where you gonna put flower beds at? Everything's concrete.
Around the corners and at the building, around the meters and around the water hydrant and things that they wanted protected and covered. Southside cupola repair was scheduled for, I think, June 20th. The young man that was planning to do that job broke his ankle. So they're trying to find somebody to take his place. So they said they would have it completed, but they could not give me a date. Southside gym and band room soundproofing is planned. Materials have been ordered. Southside classroom G138 and 152 replacement. The materials have been ordered for that, and I do not have an install date yet. And Snowden storm drain by the gym and the cafeteria, we will be doing that with our excavator in-house.
Get an update on the door that we talked about, the cafeteria. I know it's not on here at EdTech.
Yes, EdTech, we found out why the existing double door frame and doors that we found were there while they were not installed, is because they did put a bond beam over the door on the inside, and on the exterior, they have a cantilevered concrete porch or roof deck. So we're going to have to get an engineer to look at it to see what we'll do. It's just not as fact as putting a new lintel in and raising the door frame up. It's, once we got around there looking at it and investigating, it's going to be a quite larger project, so we'll be back to you with
So
that.
they cantilevered it through this wall out from?
Well, we don't have any drawings or anything, and we have a bond beam on the inside and a porch on the outside. How they're tied together, nobody knows. No, we don't have any.
Is that the double doors at the cafeteria?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we used to put sandbags around,
Yep.
but if they've cantilevered, you have to change all
What
that.
it is that when they came in to do the parking lot, after the school was built, they raised the level, and there's no storm drain on that campus at all. So all the water from the parking lot, when we have a gully washer,
Flows right in.
it comes through the door like it did last Friday or last Thursday night.
Yeah, but you may have to back up and punt, as they say on
Yes,
that.
sir.
and
We
come
might
up
have to
with another
relook
plan.
at that. We're going to look at doing
Yeah.
some, Dr. Phipps and I was out there Monday and doing some excavation and lowering the grass level. All the grass levels are above the walks, and lowering some of that and some valley ravines just to retain a little water and help. So we're going to try to do some stuff this
Okay.
summer.
All right, needing approval.
I'm going to recuse myself from this, Chairman.
Snowden, Jim, you just gonna do the trains, not the floors and the bathrooms and stuff? The floors.
Where's this at now?
The bathroom floors at the gym. You gonna do them or not?
Are we gonna do them?
Are you talking about one of
I'm
these
getting ready to
items that
present
come
to
up?
you.
Yeah, let him present it to you,
Okay.
because you'll see it's going to be done.
okay.
Yeah, it's going to be done.
Yeah, keep going in.
All these projects were advertised on the Beaufort County School website. Bid specifications were emailed to interested bidders. They were all received in sealed envelopes, and the bids were opened and recorded by administration. Bid number 50 was replacement of the VCT and installation of Versa Shield in the cafeteria and rooms 101, 103, 201, 202, and 203 at Northside High School. We have a budget of $36,000. The low bid was G.W. Walker and Son in the amount of $28,650. Want me to continue and present them all at one, Mr. Terry?
Yeah, let's
for
just go
approval?
right through them, because I mean, somebody might have a question, but I've already looked over the bids and everything looks good, but I'll let everybody answer for themselves.
Bid number 52 was repaving, repair and repaving of the Washington High School main entrance and Circle Drive. Budgeted $25,000. The low bidder was S.T. Wooten Corp. of Greenville in the amount of $20,000. Bid number 53 was 15 2-ton barred units and 4 2.5-ton barred units. 19 digital thermostats, 7-day programmable. Budgeted amount was $64,584. The low bid was All Seasons Commercial Distributing of Greensboro in the amount of $59,957.21.
Who is that for?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say that those are, because I was going to ask the same question, I guess. Those are to be delivered to the warehouse.
To us, and we will install them, yes, sir, as we can, yes.
That was just a
For
purchase.
different schools.
Right, that's for the
Yes.
purchase of all of them to be
We
delivered.
grouped
over
them all
Pennsylvania.
together, still had individual schools back when we did capital last year, and we just put it as a barred unit, so,
And then they'll be out from there.
yes, we're gonna store them under our shelter, we've already made arrangements for
And they're
those,
all
so.
replacing existing bars, right?
Existing barge, yes, ma'am.
So-
Older barge that are 20 years old plus, so, most of them.
So they'll go in different schools as
Yes,
needed.
yeah, a lot of them at John Cotton Taylor, a few at CPS, and
What do you do
some at
with the
Snowden.
ones that you take out? Do they have some life on them? Do you try to sell them?
Well, we salvage parts to keep our other ones, but we have some stored at Plant Ops now, and we salvage what parts we can,
Drop
fan
parts
motors
off
and
when you-
controls, and just to keep, yes, ma'am.
Did you skip Bill 51?
No, sir, 51 will come in a minute. It came in over budget.
Oh, okay, you skipped it, though.
Yeah, he did skip
Well, we
it,
put
but
it down
way
because it's
down
over
at the bottom.
budget, yes. Bid number 54 was removal of the shower stalls and related plumbing, capping plumbing, and repair flooring, bringing it back to level, excuse me, and installation of epoxy floor finish in both locker rooms and the 2 public restrooms in the gym at S.W. Snowden. Budgeted amount was $30,000, and the low bid was G.W. Walker and Son in the amount of $13,498.08. Bid number 2 was a previous bid from the past. The project came in over bid, and Chocowinity Middle School's band room and soundproofing was the only, Sound Side of Washington was the only bidder on this project, and the bid came in over budget. Budget amount was $8,000. Their bid was $16,188.38. Ms. Harold notified us that we can negotiate with the low bidder. So after talking with Dr. Phipps, I met with PC Sound and discussed the scope of work. And their original bid discovered that they had included the soundproofing in attached offices, storage rooms, and doors. So I asked them to give me just a quote on just doing the band room ceilings and installing the wall panels and ceiling walls up to the deck, and including shipping and installation, and the cost of this is $7,999.07.
Right, that's when we actually talked about it earlier, but set it aside till you found out more.
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. Okay. Before
Any
we
questions?
take a vote on that, explain about 51.
51 was the replacement of rooms 207 and 217 at SW Snowden. That's where we have 2x4 ceiling tile, and they're very severely sagged. We had one bid, or the budget was $57,000, and the low bid was A.R. Chesson in the amount of $12,288.88, and they were the only bid.
$5,700, not $1,000.
$5,700, excuse me, yes.
So what were they actually going to do for that amount of money for it to come over bid? I mean, we weren't just replacing the tile, they were going to lower, and, I mean, what were they going to do?
Tear all the old out and put new in.
So they had
The
to put
T-bar
framework
that's
and
up
all.
there now is no longer available, and they don't make interlocking to match the T-grid that was used back then. So the whole room's got to be replaced. Both rooms have to be replaced.
Okay.
And we don't have this on the sheet. Bid, Project 55, do you know what that was? We didn't get any bids for that one, just wanted you to be aware of it.
And I want to ask a question about too.
Yes, ma'am?
Okay. That was the washable ceiling in the kitchen at Chocowinity
At the
Middle.
middle school.
We had 2 contractors to come and look at that job, and both were interested, but we just didn't receive bids. I don't know if they got mixed up on the date. I hadn't contacted anybody, but
At the
we didn't
Chocowinity
receive
Middle.
anything. Yes,
You
sir.
want to check back on it, and we can talk about it
Yes,
next
I'll
time
bring
around?
this. We'll maybe submit it back for bid again.
Okay.
Then we receive any.
Okay.
Okay, on 52,
Yes, ma'am.
I know the lowest, I see what you're saying, the lowest is, how do we know the quality? Are we just going for the lowest, and then in a couple years, we have to redo it?
No, ma'am, we wrote a bid spec. They sent out a bid spec of what we needed. We went out and marked the areas, and they're to undercut all the areas, cut it out, put gravel back in, bring it back to grade, and then they apply a bonding agent, and they put an inch and a half of asphalt back over existing.
An inch and a half?
Inch and a half. Well, it covers back and winds up with I say roughly about an inch or 3/4 of an inch, but that's asphalt.
Okay.
Because I know a lot of the cheapest is not what we need all the time.
No.
And there may be times, Barbara, when we have a bid that's a low bid and we have some concerns, and we'll bring those to you to say that the lowest bid may have been this one, but we're not recommending that bid for a variety of reasons.
That's what we do, I read back over their bid submittal to see if they're bidding what we asked for.
Because if they follow the specs, that's all we can ask for.
And that's what we basically got the specs from DOT, is what DOT suggested we put back over it.
Can we, on bid 51, can we go back to Chesson and try to negotiate?
Oh, sir?
Didn't you say we could go back, I mean, they were the only bidder,
Right.
or do we have to rebid it?
No, if you did all the bid things that you needed to do, if they're the only bidder, then you can negotiate with them, yes.
Because it was, let me look at that again before I say anything. So it was 57, so you're talking, okay, not even, a little under 7,000, say $6,500, something like that. But, because when I look back at the bids, I'm not saying approve now, but yeah, maybe we can do that. You can't?
Sorry, I
Did you
didn't
say
get
you
first.
couldn't go back to them, or you could?
Can.
Yeah. So, because when you look back at 54, we were budgeting 30, and we're only gonna spend 13.5. So, I mean, you know, every time we save money, I don't want to immediately go out and spend it.
Right.
But we do have room to wiggle around on some of these to get this work done. Why don't you just check into it, see what the best
See what
is,
they're-
and whatever the best is, bring it back to us. We know there's money in there, and we can just take a look at it later, rather than having to do it tonight, though.
Correct.
Is that okay? Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, any questions on any of these others for Stan? Okay, if not, I'll take a motion for, let's see, 50, 52, 53, 54, bid number 2, all but 51. He'll check on that. And
So moved,
Carolyn
Mr.
needs to
Chair.
recuse
And I'm
herself from one of
recusing
them.
myself from vote.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any last questions? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed to that? Okay.
Just,
I
I have one more item, one more thing to mention is that just FYI, we had 2 trees struck either last Wednesday night or Thursday night. One's at the main entrance to Eastern to the left of the drive that's going to have to come down, and one at Ed Tech between the education wing and the cafeteria. We
Okay.
got one there that split the top, whole top's busted out of it.
You
Like,
driving when you hit them?
did I drive and hit them?
You said they were hit.
We're hit by lightning.
Lightning, okay.
This one's in a helicopter.
No, I won't hit them. So they will have to come down. I know some people's, our trees are sacred, but those trees, we have no choice.
I was just going to say, before we skip out of here.
Yes,
real
sir.
quick, I bring this for Lisa, I can show it to her. This particular sheet, can you take everything that we've approved through tonight and before the next meeting, so we got a couple of weeks, and update it? And then Stan, if you would take a copy of the updated sheet that she's going to do, it's just a capital list.
Right.
Because what we've just gone through and what you've done, once we get these summer projects, it's going to clear out a huge portion of this sheet, because I went through it today, you can see all my little X's. It's going to clear it out pretty much. But I'd like to see what projects we have that are still left and see how it might intertwine with what was going to be the 16-17 capital list. And as we start talking about what we can do with that, and I know everybody knows the situation there, we can get a clear picture. But I don't think there's going to be a lot of projects left to do.
Yes, sir.
But take the updated list and then come back to us and just give us an update next time around on what hasn't been done and what we plan to do.
We
with it.
started working on it today.
Okay, can we do that?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Oh.
because I'm not sure 16-17 is going to look like much.
One quick question on these, like the flooring projects and things, planning on being able to start moving where we can get these done over the summer before school starts?
Everything besides the eastern enclosure depends on DPI and inspections is going to be our catch 22.
Push them as much as you can.
Oh, yes,
on
I am.
that
I've
front.
asked for, expedited turnaround on those. And he's actually, the DPI fellow, Mr. Kim Lawson, is actually the guy that came and recommended that we contract out the job. So he's already been, he's aware, so I hope he'll just sign it and send it on once he reviews the plans. So,
Because I think we
pretty
still
quick.
got 7 sets of eyes looking at us on that one.
Yes, sir.
Don't you, Don? Thanks.
And a couple of contractors local have already been in site and looked, and they say they can make it happen in the timeline, so it'll be
I
interesting.
appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank y'all.
Okay, field trips, Mr. Don.
Just one here, and this may look odd to you. It's in May of 2017. It's a trip that P.S. Jones has done in the past for 8th graders to go to Washington, D.C., an educational trip. They're asking for approval at this point so they can do some of the fundraising that needs to be done. So we presented that for your consideration.
Okay.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any questions? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed to that field trip? I didn't think so. That's going to carry us to our second closed session of the night.
I move that we go into closed session pursuant to General Statute 143-318.11A1 to prevent disclosure of confidential personnel files under General Statute 115C-321.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're in closed session. Okay, we're back in open session, and the first item up is approval of the personnel agenda as, with the one change of a volunteer to paid that they're going to take care of.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Okay, for a motion and a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. July calendar. And it just has 2 dates, correct?
We're doing the board retreat on the 18th, and the single monthly board meeting will be on July the 19th.
Okay, so the meetings are already scheduled, the ones you already know about, nothing's changing. The 18th and the 19th, okay?
It normally comes up, we'll have to start looking at August for that, the meeting, the day that teachers come back. And we're not doing an opening convocation again because we've been cut on the number of days that we had to work with our calendar. So we're going to do some things with podcasts, but not have a meeting at Washington like we've done in the past.
Any board member updates?
Oh, I'm not gonna take all that time and tell you.
Take as long as you want.
No, I will not do it, I tell you. But I just want to let you know that I did attend the 3 conferences, and they were great. The FRN conference was basically the same thing as the legislative committee conference that I attended, and the theme at the FRN conference this year was ESSA, which was Every Student Succeed Act, and that's what they talked on, and that's what the different breakout sessions were, which was talking about. We had the Secretary of the Education. The secretary, I'm sorry, from the educational department to come and speak on that, and he was talking about how legislators or how the people have just trying their utmost to demolish public education, and we're just hoping that this will not pass, that this bill will not pass. We also in legislative. Oh, yeah, they're not trying to hide anything. They are basically letting you know exactly how they feel, and that's the way they get over what they want, because they put it out there, and they get support from it. There are 2 bills that's in the House that's our concerns, and one of them is the math, the bill that's. I don't know if you've heard of that or not, but then you know about that. I don't have to go into that other one. There's another one that math bill probably will not take effect until 2018 and 2019. It'll probably go into set that during that time. They're still debating on that, and they're also debating on the 539. You remember that House bill? You know that? Okay, that's what we were balking at that. the bill, we want to let you know that that House Bill 1080, they debated and passed on that today. So that one, that was with the schools, when they are going to take a look at the different schools across the state, in the lowest schools, grades. They're the ones that they are going to pass down to the charter schools, okay? But everything went really good, and I do appreciate the opportunity to go. But the one thing that I would like for the board to know that I wasn't aware of until I went to the policy conference is that if we are accepting donations from the board or funds from the board for traveling or whatever we might get monies for or fees for, we cannot include tips when we go to eat or when we are doing anything. If we do that, if we're paying tips, we're going to have to pay the tips from our individual funds. We cannot use the board's funds to do that. So I wanted to make sure that the board members knew that, because I didn't know that. And I would like to share it with you. But basically, that's enough. Oh, I could sit here and talk all night long because it was just so much going on. But I do want to let you know that this is hopefully that was my last meeting. And I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed the time that I've served on that board. So hopefully that I might be able to make some type of contact and get some of the things that I've learned. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me at any other time other than tonight.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for what you've done. Superintendent updates.
We know that we're close to a budget at the state level. We haven't had a chance to go through the specific details yet. We feel like the planning that we put in place with 5% and 3% is going to be on target. And I'm proud. We met this past week with our principals and central services leaders, assistant principals, and the work that we're doing is being driven by the strategic plan that we put together, and that's really what it's there for. And I think you're going to see a focus on the academics and the instruction and the rigor and the work that's being done in the classroom and the preparation that goes along with that. So, you know, I want to be able to point to that when we talk about the things that we're doing, that we didn't create a document that stays on a shelf. It actually is going to drive the work that we're doing, and we're committed to doing that. So thank you all for your patience of getting that done, but we're actually seeing some fruits of that now with the things that are being done in the summer.
Okay. Ms. P?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Got a motion to second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.